Tre Tailor, and the name of our organization is Relax, It's Okay to Be Single. We do seminars, workshops, and social events for singles of all ages, races, gender, and religion, based on the three main reasons singles fail to find the love and life they desire and deserve. Those three main reasons, the first one and the biggest one is healing. People have pains of their past relationships, and instead of taking the time to resolve those issues that we all have, they go from relationship to relationship to relationship, never taking care of the pain, never taking care of what they were supposed to learn from the last relationship. Instead, they look to somebody else to heal themselves. And how many of you know no one else can do that for you but you? The second main reason that singles fail to find the love and life they desire and deserve is communication. And basically that's just men and women communicate differently. So many times we want someone to say something, and that's what we hear them say instead of hearing what they actually are saying and definitely what they're meaning. So communication is the second thing. And the third thing is connection. Now connection is really funny because when we see someone from the opposite sex, we immediately hone in on, could that possibly be a mate for me? Instead of nurturing our friendships and finding someone that's cool. If the person is cool, one of two things can happen. Both of them are great. We can find a good friend. And now we're in another circle of people where we might not only find the love of our lives, but a business connection or a networking opportunity. And the other thing is, relationships should grow out of friendship. So if you see someone and you don't have that initial sexual attraction, but you think they're good people, why not go ahead and nurture that friendship, and out of that, love could blossom. So we travel with Black Expo doing certain seminars. Maxine, can you let them come in the back door? Thank you. So we do different seminars, and today our seminar, as you saw on the side, was Relax, It's Okay Not to Be Mary Jane. Now, while the seminar is not specifically about that particular show, it is about the trend of many of our shows that we see show powerful women who are engaging in extramarital affairs, being Mary Jane, Scandal, Olivia Pope, the have and the have-nots. But we all know that it's not only on TV, it's in real life. So today we're going to talk about why we choose to go to someone else's relationship and nurture our own lives instead of waiting and finding the person for you. We've got a great panel today, and it's my pleasure to introduce them. First and foremost is Caponda Narciso. She's a state mental health administrator, and she's also been a cheater and a cheatee. Next, we have Mr. Kevin Raspberry. He's an author, educator, and a former cheater. And then next we have Ms. Barbara Johnson. She does life coaching and etiquette. She's not saying if she's been a cheater or a cheatee. We respect that. And we have attorney Kevin Pierce. He's been in family law for 25 years, so he brings an interesting perspective in that he represents people who are going through divorce and sees that many of those cases actually are because of infidelity. And last and certainly not least, my friend, my mentor, and my life coach, Ms. Angela Carr-Patterson. She has a great business as the Love Lifestyle Coach. Earlier today, she did a phenomenal seminar on fatherless daughters, and she does a lot of educations and seminars for women and love and money. The way you do love is the way you do money is what Angela says. So these are our panelists. Please give them a round of applause. So we'll start by asking any of our panelists, why do you think people cheat? Caponda.
The main reason people cheat is they're unhappy. There's a disconnect somewhere in their relationship, and they're seeking whatever they're missing somewhere else. But there are other reasons. Another reason is just because they want to. It's easy, and they can do it.
Kevin?
Simply to me, it's just the situation they're in. They didn't think everything all the way through. Whether it be getting into a relationship, whether it be the cheating part of relationships, that people never think things all the way through.
Barbara, do you want to?
I think, let me clarify, I'm not a cheater or a cheating.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
There you go.
I think, as I was talking to Ms. Taylor when we first met, that a lot of people just don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't feel good about themselves. Low esteem, whatever, all that and above. Because if you really know who you are, he can't approach me wrong, because he's got to come to me correct, because I'm going to exemplify what he has to say to me. So,
Kevin?
I got a little different perspective this morning. I actually wrote notes, Trey.
All right now, you better be a
And the
lawyer.
first thing I wrote down for you was act like a wife, think like a side chick. And sounds strange maybe, but the majority of the divorce cases that I've done with infidelity arise out of lack of communication. And the reason I said act like a wife, because you need to act like a wife to attract a husband. Right? First of all, you act like a wife to maintain a husband, or with a husband, vice versa. I don't want to seem like I'm just talking to the ladies. But the one thing that people think about a side chick or a side woman is that they think it's all about the sex, and it's not. It really is primarily, long-term side relationships are about communication. And the one thing a side chick will do that a wife may not be doing is she will listen to that husband. She will learn that man, and she will cater to what he says he's not getting in the marriage. And when she does that, the man is gravitating to this side chick and getting what he can get or is not getting in his marriage with the side chick. And generally, the strange thing about these relationships is usually the side chick knows the truth. She knows the truth. She knows what's going on. She knows everything about this man that the wife doesn't know. So when you are with a man, whether it's a relationship or a marriage, you want to think like that side chick. You really want to, and I transition that to, you want to be someone's friend. And a lot of people, my second note straight, is that people go out looking for a man instead of looking for a friend. And I say this, and I don't want to be too long, because I know Angela has some great insights. I don't want to take up all the time, but try to make your friend your man. Too many people try to make their man their friend, and that is a reverse process. And let me say that again very slowly. Try to make your friend your man. Become friends with a person first before you go into a relationship. Don't go into a relationship and then try to make the man your friend, because that really is a backwards way of doing things.
Right.
Thank you.
And I just want to, before I go to Angela, Kevin made such great points, and Barbara actually made the same, similar points. And that's why we say that the third thing I was saying about the connection, we just go for what we see. If the guy looks nice, or if he's got, and we definitely do the whole materialistic thing. If he's got a nice car, if the girl's got a house, if she's got a good job, we just hone in on that. We don't know even who these people are. Do they even have the values that you would be in a relationship with somebody? Do you even like them? Which is what Kevin said. And that's why we say you have to get to know someone first to see if you like them. So many people are in love with somebody they don't even like. Is that somebody that you can share your innermost feelings with? Is that somebody you can laugh and joke with? If not, then that's not a good mate. You shouldn't have to go outside of your relationship to find something. I think everything should be there. Angela?
Oh, wow. A lot has been said that's already I agree with. I would say that, speaking to Kevin's situation about the side, what he said about the side chick, well, the man has set her up to win by telling her what his wife isn't doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he set the side chick up to win, because now she has the information that he's not actually communicating to his wife about. So all she has to do is twist herself up in a pretzel to become what that is that he's saying he's backing at home. So she's set up to win. But I think the reason people cheat is because there's a sense of scarcity mindset that if I don't get this, then I'm not gonna get anything. So when you come from a place of lack, then that's driven by fear. That fear causes you to take actions that you ordinarily wouldn't take otherwise. So there's so many other variables why people cheat, so we could speculate, but I really think at a fundamental root of it is because of the scarcity mindset, of coming from a place of lack.
Now, this is a two-way conversation, so we definitely want you to respond and react. Capone, you had a comment?
I did, when Barbara said that cheating is about self-esteem, I kind of disagree with that.
You can.
Because I consider myself, and those who know me know, I have probably more self-esteem than the average 10 people put together. But I cheated because it was easy, it was fun, and it was a challenge. It wasn't because I wasn't okay with me, because during this time there were people who wanted to be just one-on-one or whatever, but I enjoyed doing it the way that I was. Sometimes, at that time when I was heavy into being Mary Jane, I had just gotten divorced. So I didn't want to be attached to anyone. So I purposely sought out people who were already in relationships, because in my mindset, that meant you don't have time to commit to being in a relationship with me. But sometimes people get it twisted and they forget the role that they were cast for, and they try to rewrite your film. but you have to keep reminding them, you know, I casted you as the understudy. You're not the lead actor in this script. So I don't think it's about self-esteem. I do agree with the intimacy part being missing from their relationship. And I'm a person who studies people. So I know what you need, and I may superficially give that to you to get you to give me what I want. I'm not going to be as honest with you as I should, but I know if Kevin likes compliments every day, if his love language is, you know, he needs words of affirmation, then I'm going to tell him every day how cute he looks and how smart he is and what a great businessman he is. And I could probably feel that he's the stupidest man I've ever met. But I'm not going to let him know that's how I feel, because I want something from him. I have to give him what he wants, which is simply words. He needs me to tell him he's Superman. So you learn these things. And women are manipulative. Right. You know, men think that they are gaming. And really, you only play me if I feel like being played. It's not that you're playing me, I'm laying down and letting you do that. You know.
I think that goes both ways, open pond. I don't underestimate men now. There's a whole lot of men out there. That's why they got pimps, sweetheart.
Yeah. I'm about to give
right, but I think people who are strong in terms of their personality, their persona, prey on people who are weak. And so it's not even a matter of who's stronger, it's the individual who's strong. And, you know, I know you said this is more about not being Mary Jane.
Yeah, no, but we have to
again,
talk about the problem to talk about
right,
the
the
solution.
thing about what you just said, when you said you were out there doing your thing, is really it comes back to communication. Which is what I'm saying. You're communicating with that person, which is one of the, I wish we could just pack this room with people to try to get black folk to really work their relationships out. Because I'm telling you, if you are the wife, you're somebody's wife or somebody's husband, and you're failing to communicate in a positive way with your mate, you open the door. And a lot of people get married, and after the honeymoon, they get home, and then they go at it as if the person is like their opponent, and they're not, you know, cultivating a positive, happy home. Now you start criticizing the person for everything that they're not. And the minute that person, like you said, if Kevin, I'm gonna keep it on that Kevin. But if Kevin is a kind of person, like say his love language is one of affirmation, and he finds somebody who's affirming him, and he goes home and somebody's disaffirming him, where do you think he's going to go?
Right.
You know, so you as a spouse, as a girlfriend, as somebody interested in somebody, as a husband, as a boyfriend, whatever, you're interested in somebody, understand you need to cultivate that relationship. A farmer is not going to have a great crop if he doesn't tend to. You got to water it, you got to fertilize it, you got to do all the things necessary to make it grow. And that is what causes divorce. Even though I don't mind because I make a good living doing it, keep messing up your relationships, I want to thank you. But I'm just saying, if you want it to work out and you want the community to stay stronger, because it does weaken our community.
It does.
You really need to stop fighting the person you're involved with and start thinking about, why am I with this person anyway? And that's how you kind of like beat back Mary Jane. You gotta be Mary Jane to beat
To
Mary
stop
Jane.
being, yeah, you're right, you gotta be Mary Jane to beat Mary Jane. That's
Right.
good, that's good.
Please let him say something.
No, it's just that Kevin mentioned earlier that you're setting up the side chick to win because she listens to everything, you know, and she can feel that void. Now, my question goes to, Angela, you mentioned it, or is that necessarily because the wife has become so complacent now or comfortable that she forgot the reason she got in the relationship?
Well, I think it's that too, but we have to understand that Cupid is your drug dealer, okay? So when you first get into a relationship, that stuff is good. I don't care how you put it, fix it, it is good. It's a drug dealer, and it will keep you hooked. But studies show that that drug only lasts a good 18 months. It's good. If you're really lucky, it's gonna last 18 months. That same relationship gonna go south if people don't activate some of the things that Tre is teaching about communication and all that and connection. Because it's one thing to connect with a person, but you got to connect with a person that on a plane that goes beyond this physical thing. Because Cupid is your drug dealer, and you high on this euphoria, and studies show that it's just like being high on a drug.
And how many of you been high on love?
Yeah,
I'm
and
pulling
so-
up my hand, I'll be the only one, but I
And
think
that's what
everybody.
cheating does. And cheating will lure you like that. It's I can get the untouchable. And for women, I don't care how you fix it, put it, it's about winning. It's about winning. I can do for her what I can do for her man
Right,
what she not
right. It's
doing.
that competition that we have.
competition.
Yeah.
It's that competition thing, and it's subtly, and we say that it's not coming from a place of low self-esteem, but you can't see your own blind spots because they're buried. And somewhere in there, there's something about self-worth that causes you to go and have something that doesn't belong to you. And studies prove that. You can't see your blind spots. So I can say I'm confident, and she says she's confident, but we don't know that to be sure because we got blind spots that are buried in our subconscious, and the only way it's brought to surface is somebody can pull it out of you and identify it, because patterns can only be seen by other people. You can't see your own patterns.
Well, that's what I used to, and to be honest, that's what I used to pray on, was actually confident women. Because here was the deal. If I could penetrate them, they already felt
Figuratively
like,
and physically.
Well, and the reason why is because it was so challenging. But if you could ever make their inner circle, they'll do anything for you. I was married and I had 6 girlfriends. I had a girlfriend for every day of the week, and my wife was for Sunday. I had one that bought my groceries. I had one that bought my wife's stuff. I had one that paid my car payment. I had one that paid my mortgage. I had one that I just sat and chilled.
I wonder if they're looking for a girlfriend.
And so, but what happened was they were all professional women, because you can't have a sugar mama that ain't got a
But
job.
most professionals, I mean, that's my client, 250,000 and above, they will do
Exactly.
it because they are the Mary Janes,
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, most successful women are driven to success by something beyond
Their
just wanting to
fear.
be success.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what made it easy for me. And I can tell you, I was married before, and I'm married now, and this is the first time I've ever been in love my entire life. I married for money. I married for to make sure things were taken care of. I was a single father for 13 years. And so when I got married, I wanted somebody to watch my kids for me. I'm just being honest with you that I studied women. I studied women just like I went to college. I wanted to know everything about you, why you bought the car you bought. Were you an impulse buyer? Did you study to buy it? I went into all of that. You know, so far as we talk about this marriage, I'm gonna tell you how far women would go. I sat down and I told this one young lady that I was dating, I said, look, I need you to buy my groceries, but you messing up. She said, what you mean? I said, you can't buy milk and eggs and have it in your car, when I come by and do what I'm gonna do with you and go home, my wife is gonna know it's at room temperature. So what you gotta do is when you buy it, you gotta go put it in the refrigerator. After we're done, then I'll grab it, and don't put a receipt in the bag. So, I mean, that was people like me that was out there that went after the professional woman, because like I said, once you penetrate that ring, I'm telling you, it's nothing they won't do. Nothing.
Look at that.
I
I can't get somebody to help you now.
Now, let me tell
You
you
got
something.
6 women to help you pay the bill.
I'm a professional woman, and I have cheated, but I have never bought it. I'm trying to get my grocery paid for. Not trying, I get my grocery paid for. I get my light bill paid. And I tell people, I say, I'll take a sugar daddy, but if it comes to it, I'll get a sugar mama too. Because this don't have to be. I ain't never had one, but if the sugar daddy start falling off. But what I'm saying is, it's about competition. It's about, I'm a Leo, so by nature, we like to play. We want to pounce. We want that challenge. We want that person who say, no, I don't like it. I don't care. So in your mind, it's just like you said, we want to see if we can get what they say we can.
I'm
Or
married, I tell you. I can't teach nobody else.
but I have since stopped that behavior because I figured out, karma is a bitch.
Yes, sir.
And it does
It's
come
so
back.
real.
And when
It's
it
so
came
real.
back, she came back and knocked me down.
Yeah.
So I had to learn, no, this is not the life I really need
And
to
that's what
live.
I was gonna ask about, how did you all feel?
Well, I just suddenly just one day I said, this is the same reason I got
Right.
divorced.
Right.
And I'm doing to some woman or women what was done to me that ripped my soul apart.
And did
And
you
I'm-
not see it though, Rhonda, at the time? Because I was going to ask you that. Did you not see
Oh,
it
I
as
saw it,
you were
but I
doing what was
didn't
done?
care, because I did things for thrill. There's some stuff that could have gotten me killed. I'm at people's houses. You know what I'm saying? I was a terrible person. I did terrible things. And when I think about it now, I'm like, would I want someone to do that to my daughter? My sisters who are married now, I wouldn't want that. But like I said, I did horrible, horrible things. And when I stopped doing it now, I'm reaping what I have sown. However, you live, you learn. But I just decided to stop.
I stopped because it all actually caught up to me, even though I never got caught. But at the time, I was a pretty wealthy person at the time. Houses, cars, money, and all of this. And until I met that woman, that crook, just crook to her heart. But at the same time, I really couldn't say much because basically I've been a thief the whole time. And so I lost everything. And the crazy thing, my wife now was my friend. And we always talk every day. And I never saw her as my wife. And she would tell me, she said, Kevin, I'm telling you, when your ship crashed, a piece of you is gonna fly in everybody's front yard. Because that's how bad it's gonna shatter for you. And I lost everything. I was basically homeless. I lost everything. Everything. Houses, cars, all of that. You know,
What,
Make your friend your spouse.
that's it.
should I ask a question?
Sure.
What about the sex aspect of this? Did you have any children? Were there any diseases?
Oh, no. Now, let me tell you.
Everybody gets wrapped up.
You're not, I can't. I have one daughter, and I had her while I was married. Immediately after that, I had a hysterectomy. So having children wasn't something I had to worry about. However, no, you can't give me a gift that's not wrapped.
Right.
I'm not taking it. I can't have children, but there are worse things to get from sex than children.
Right.
Children eventually go away.
Yeah.
But there's some other things that's gonna stay.
Right.
And so no, I don't have sex unprotected.
But even that is a danger if you're having oral sex. I mean, you
Absolutely.
can't
Well,
really protect yourself from
get it right.
everything.
But they do
I
have
mean, there
dental
is
dams,
a way
and
so
there
hard,
are,
but nobody-
that's what condoms are for. They're flavored.
Right,
You know,
right.
That's what they're for.
But not most people are
taking
not
that
out
deep.
there like
Sorry,
that.
We done lost the whole audience. We all
We're
on our own
sorry.
thing.
He asked the question.
Right.
Well, I mean, with the HIV rate being
Right.
what it is
What it
in the state
is.
of South Carolina, I
Yeah.
think it's something ridiculous.
Well,
now.
we're number one. I think we're number one
I
in
think we are.
the 50 states. Well, yes.
I mean,
South
18 to
Carolina.
35, I think, something like
But
that.
South Carolina State is the #1 HBCU with HIV.
And Richland County is the #1 county in the state. New HIV/AIDS.
So
And
it's,
since I live in Richland County,
yeah, and so as much education as we have out there about sexually transmitted diseases, people are still not only taking chances with their personal lives, they're taking chances with their physical lives. You know, Kevin, you mentioned something that I wanted to expound upon, and that was the communication, you know, being friends and really learning how to talk. And I just wanted to piggyback on Kevin to say that doesn't mean if you're angry with someone, you can't be angry with them, but we have to learn how to even argue. We have to learn how not to call people names. You know what I'm saying? We have a tendency to just, you know, throw swords when we're mad at somebody. Start calling people out of their name. And it's better, I think, even if you are married to someone or you are dating someone, to not let that element come in. If you know how to have a healthy disagreement, you know, how to say, you know, and I learned this, look, I can't talk about it right now because you're too angry and you know what's going to come out of your mouth. It's not going to come correct. Can we just talk about it later? And then when you talk about it, don't say, well, you did this and you did that and you did that. Well, listen, I didn't feel good when you said this. You hurt my feelings when you did that, you know, and just kind of communicate. Do you guys want to
Oh, yeah.
talk a little
I
bit?
want to say, because Kevin, when he was saying that one hit me because
Yeah.
yesterday my wife got her hair done. And so, of course, at some point I have to understand my reputation is going to precede me. And so my wife is sitting there, and the craziest thing, she knows everything. And so the lady doing her hair was giving her story of being married 10 years and the husband cheated and this and that. And so she kept patting my wife on the shoulder and said, well, what if Kevin cheated on you? And so she was insinuating that I was actually cheating on her. But here's the difference in growing up and maturity, is they're two totally different things. And so when my wife came home, she told me about what happened. The old me, why you listen to them people? Why you don't need to go back there anymore? But we sat down and I said, well, I asked her, how did that make you feel? You know, she was like, listen, you know, I believe you all in. I said, okay, let me explain to you why I'm all in. And so we can talk about this. And so, you know, end up always being a good day for us, because that's what we're rooted in friendship. And when you friends, you talk, you communicate. And so there's an understanding there. And so, I know that sometimes people still say that. I'm a very transparent person. I tell people what I've done. So that was no issue to me, but it was important to me that we continue to talk and communicate and have a good ending, because we were adults and maturity was in the situation.
Absolutely.
Hey, let me say something. Because inside communication is about the only thing that's going to trump outside coochie.
That's right.
And I say that, and I know I'm in a room and it's primarily women. And women, I cannot tell you this enough. Inside communication, you need to talk to the man you are involved with. That is about the only thing that's going to keep that outside stuff from coming inside your household. And if you are not, I can't emphasize communication enough. Just like you say, you communicated with your wife, you have to cultivate an environment that allows your husband to, or your boyfriend, or whatever he is, and I'm directing this to women because women, all women now, pretty much, that allows him to be honest in his communication. Because if you don't, then he's not going to tell you things. And when he doesn't tell you things, that's dishonest.
That's right.
You know, it's not so much telling somebody things that are true. It's telling them everything. Because an omission can be just as deceitful as
It's still a lie.
Absolutely.
Right.
But the big problem is, as a lot of women, I hate to say this, but they'd rather believe a lie than the truth. The man could come and tell you the truth, and then you want to make it a lie. You say, well, no, I gave her a right to know. We didn't do anything. yeah, you did, because so-and-so said, you know, you don't want to believe your man, you don't allow him to speak. He started talking, you cut him off. That's how we operate, you cut him off.
We got amen for us.
You get your inspector gadget on.
Yes.
He has the number to some random number written down and automatically he's you. And you don't give him a chance to explain, then you feel stupid because you called a number and it's for some surprise or something he was getting from you. But women do that, we rush to judgment, we do not listen.
We don't.
And we are very accusatory of men, even when nothing's going on.
That comes from other, and that doesn't become the man's issue or the other person's issue, that really becomes your issue. Because you have an issue with trust.
Right.
Which is, for us, my topic is fathers, daughters, and that's whether you grew up with an unavailable, unattached, or absent father. Trust is one of the hallmarks of a fatherless daughter, because you have issues with trust. And what you want to do is create a context within the relationship in which both parties can feel safe. And that comes through communicating. And, you know, with my husband and I, this is both our second marriage. His wife is deceased and mine, I was divorced. And so one of the things that we learned early on is how to communicate, because I've been single for, 9 years, divorced with 3 children on my own, bought my own house, and whole 9 yards. He's been single on his own, single dad. So we had to merge 2 families together. And one of the things I had said, nobody's going to ever tell me what to do, how to do, And so, but I married a military officer, retired military officer, that was raised by a man's man, his father, and he was used to kind of being in charge. So it took my brother, I don't have sisters, it took my brother to tell me that they feel paper for stuff that Tim did. So I had to learn my husband's rhythm. You need to learn your man's rhythm. I didn't go through his military career with him. David can help me on the list with military. They use very few words, short phrases, talk short. They don't mean any harm. You see, his wife was an officer too, so they knew how to communicate like that. I'm a Southern girl, I'm the baby in the family, big boys, you gotta sugarcoat that thing with me. You gotta put a curve on that ball, you can't shoot me straight. So I was taking what he was saying and being offended by it until I learned my husband's rhythm. And that's how he communicates. So we had to do a talking stick. When you got sticks, you listen, I talk. I had to learn to say, when you do such and such, I feel. Not you make me feel, I own my own feelings. And then he takes the talking stick and say, I hear you say. And you say, y'all do that, almost 12 years later? Yes, because there are topics, like money, certain things we have to talk about that might be sensitive topics that we just can't. So we plan for those, we make a meeting, can we talk, at such and such. Nah, we need to talk. Because then you set your husband up and say, well, what did I do wrong? And you say, well, what I say is, Bill, we need to talk about the budget for such and such. You're going to be available. And he said, well, let's talk at such and such time. So we know what we're coming together. It's a sensitive topic sometimes because I overspend, So it's a sensitive topic. So we do the talking stick with certain things. So you find, like you said, inside communication. You find your man's rhythm and you let him know what your rhythm is. And don't jump to conclusions because he may be saying something and with your tainted lenses, you're hearing something different. That's why feeding it back and saying, I hear you saying to me. And that way you don't have, because we do speak different languages. And they are more aggressive with their talk and with their communication. And when you like, why are you handling me like that? And he said, I'm just talking to you.
Right.
So I had to understand that that was his rhythm. And his wife was in the military, so they at each other. And with the kid, he said, well, I told you, you don't told me nothing. So I had to learn to understand his rhythm. And that helps. And know what your rhythm is.
Yes.
Know what your threshold is. And that's what I told him. How about putting a little curve on that for me? A little song. Because I'm kind of soft tongue. So put a little curve on it. So he softened up and I toughened up. So we can communicate.
Absolutely. We definitely have to be able to listen, be able to hear, and as the panel said, allow someone to tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. But if you say, tell me the truth, and they tell you the truth, know that it may not be really what you want to hear, but allow them to tell the truth and create an environment to where they'll feel comfortable telling you the truth. You know, it's just like with our kids. You know, we want our kids to tell us if they're drinking or if they're smoking or if they're whatever, but if you tell them and then you freak out, they're not going to tell you anything else. You have this same thing with your relationships. You just have to, as Angela said, kind of ease it a little bit. Does anybody in the audience, have you ever experienced that in your own relationships? Just to kind of get you in the conversation, anybody want to share anything that they've been in this type of relationship with communication, or you have a communication success or non-success story? Anybody? Thanks. Well, I wanted to bring up something else. I wanted to ask Kevin again from an attorney standpoint. Kevin, do you find that the side chick, I don't think she does, but do you find that that side chick, that woman that the man usually goes to, he ends up with?
That's a hard question, Trey, because I don't know really the answer. I can only speculate. The reason I say I don't know, I wouldn't have that kind of data to say whether they do or not. I can say, based on what I think, I can speculate, no, they don't generally end up in long-term relationships, because even when it comes down when the side, as you say, side chick, that is a role. That's not necessarily what somebody actually is. Like Kapanda said, you got to know what role you are playing and what film you are producing.
That's right. If you signed up for that part, recognize that's where you are, and that's where he's thinking you are. But I think as women, we think that's a matriculation.
Well, it can't be a stepping. It's a stepping stone.
But I don't know if you're stepping into marriage, though.
Well,
I know people who have married the person that they were cheating with, and they're successfully married. They've been married for years. It's not the norm, but it does happen. It can and does happen. I personally know two couples, and they've been married. One of them for like 30 years, and that's the second marriage of the other one. It's only been 4, but they're happy.
And I think it's there's an exception to every rule, I'm sure. But
I wouldn't even know if that's the exception, though, Trey. That's what I say. I don't, we don't necessarily want to cast these women as the villain.
and I'm not saying anybody's a villain. I'm not saying anybody's a villain. I'm really speaking to know your role and know that that role may not lead to any other roles.
Well,
that might be where you are in that particular relationship.
But if you know how to change roles, then you understand what I'm saying. It's a role. It's not a personality trait. And I know we get into something that's more psychological than really my field of expertise. But again, you can change that role because as a wife, you should have a little bit of side chick in you.
Absolutely.
And as a side chick, you need to have a little bit of wife in you.
Right.
So the thing is, if you're getting in there as a side chick with somebody, and then that relationship falls apart, you can convert that into being a wife. And you have all the experience of what happened from a side chick relationship. And so you can kind of like, not to say that's the route to go, I'm saying there's a way to transition into that. I think it is. Now, I've seen it, like I've seen some successful relationships work out that way. I wasn't necessarily happy about it when my clients went out and married and sent me a wedding invitation to the marriage with the girlfriend, but that's how it is.
Well, I mean, you gotta think too, as a former cheater, you gotta understand, I didn't go to you for the whole package. I only went to you for part of the groceries for the meal. You know what I mean?
Because you was going home with your wife.
Yeah. I didn't need you for all this. I don't need you to wash my clothes. I don't need you to help pay any bills or attend to the kids. You have a specific reason that you're in my life. And so I didn't allow you to grow. I didn't allow that relationship to go past that. Because see, the minute you say, why you spending more time with me, you on the bench. You got to go.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
We say that too.
Yeah. You got to leave it.
Because, I've been in a situation where a married man is going to tell me, well, I don't want you to see anybody else. So I can't say the exact answer I gave, because some of y'all look a little uptight. But I asked him, are you going to stop sleeping with your wife? So when you stop sleeping with your wife, then, You know, and I want to say, well, can I have a key to your house? I said, can I have a key to your house? You can't even come to my house. If I can't come to your house, that's a general rule in my life. If I can't come to your house, you can't come to my house. So it's some balance in there. You know, it's not always the women. It's not always the side pieces want to step up. It's a lot of times the men want to rule the world. They want cake, pie, cookies. They want everything. You know, they want home and they want you too.
There was a recent situation where a gentleman had an affair, and it was an old affair, I don't know how many years. He told his wife, and she died.
She killed him.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Died. And this was in church.
Oh, that was good.
My question to Angela is, let's dissect that, because he told her, but he didn't tell her the person. And it was an old, it could have been 5 years, it could have been 20 years. He told the whole congregation. And I think the impact of, that happening, because they didn't talk together, communicate, he collapsed.
He collapsed as he said.
He died in the church.
He died in
At
church. Oh, what, a heart attack?
Yes.
Okay.
But there was more to that story.
Yeah,
He said it was
that
30 years, that it was, the affair had happened 30 years ago. He told the whole congregation, and the congregation was in an uproar, and they were yelling and screaming. But the congregation later said they were like yelling and screaming in support, not angry with him. But it was too much stress for him, and that's what he
And it could have been the anxiety and the fear
Right,
before he even
exactly.
got up yet.
And it was on Sunday, right after he reached the service.
It's probably something that was physical. Yeah.
Confession supposed to be good for the soul.
But he
It
probably
wasn't good for his lifespan.
went to heaven quicker than he wanted to go. I'm just going.
He probably had been carrying that kind of
Yeah.
stress. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking if they had discussed it a little
Well, I
bit.
think sometimes, I think sometimes that you can place a burden on someone that they're unable to carry. The Bible talks about that. You place a burden on somebody that you aren't able to carry. So you have to look at the fact, if it was 30 years ago, what was his intention? What was his intention to tell the congregation? It was from looking at it from my standpoint, it was a selfish act because he was trying to relieve himself of the guilt, not so much as come clean with his wife or come clean with everyone else. I think the guilt was eating him, and he was trying to get it up off him. We got to look at we won't know what his intentions were for actually doing.
Because he actually said it was somebody in the congregation.
Oh.
He never
The
said.
wife first, though.
Yeah. But he said he had been having an affair with someone in the congregation.
If it was 30 years
So-
ago, don't tell.
Cares. I mean,
We got a second lady in the church.
I'm not telling.
First lady,
You know, I've been the number
Yeah.
one, number two person. And don't be
I'm
telling
number
me.
I'm number 2.
Look, you gotta be number one, number two.
Yeah, but doesn't that go back to communication? Because that, like you said, that was very selfish
That
of
was
him.
selfish on his part.
That was a very
Yes.
chicken way of handling,
Yeah.
and it was a way, proud. It was a way of
That was all about him. That was not about them
That was
as a
him.
congregation. That was all about
And
him.
the congregation was his protection.
That's
Yes,
it.
that's
You know he couldn't get shot.
Yeah, she ain't gonna kill me in front of all of y'all.
That was about his.
Or she's not gonna end the relationship
In front of all everybody. She ain't gonna go off.
She make it sound like I'm testifying,
Right.
like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
I'm telling you this after 30
Right.
years.
Yeah.
Right, and they stand up and they support him, and you as a wife sitting there, and and a lot of times they feel compelled, especially, how that church is,
Oh, yeah.
to support the husband and to demonstrate loyalty when really
Especially
in
he's the
her
pastor.
soul.
He's the pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he told his wife before he preached the service. His wife knew when they went to church.
Oh,
That's what
really?
the article was.
It's still the same thing.
And so why go to church to say anything? Why even bring everybody in?
So the thing is, we watch these TV shows and I'm really concerned about how the African American women are being depicted.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
because of our young people, we have reality shows and we're told that if we fuss and fight, act a fool,
Yes.
then that makes us wealthy because these people have money, they're wearing red bottoms. She was, toting the bags and stuff. And so, and whether we realize it or not, that stuff is being embedded in us because everything embeds in the subconscious.
That's right.
And it becomes a culture. And when it becomes a culture, it's hard to change culture.
That's right.
It's very hard to change culture. And so we have to be careful. And these three leading roles on television, Haves and Have Not, Scandal, and Being Mary Jane, get high rating television shows.
Some of
But
the
they're
most
all
popular
African
shows.
American women
Yes.
that's sleeping with other people's husbands.
Yes.
And we have to be very careful with how we're, as a culture, are not, and I don't believe that, I'm like Mother Teresa, I'm not gonna march against the war, but I will march for peace.
Yes.
Like what Kevin is doing, he's bringing more pro this and to try to change the culture back to, take us back to our foundation. Young mothers are younger, grandmothers are younger. So a lot of things that Big Mama told us is not being shared anymore. We're not sitting at grandmama's feet. I heard stories over and over. Grandma told things 50 times. And then when my mom gets to talking to my kids, like, I heard that, just listen, shut up, hear it again, because you're going to get something new from it. Because she's telling you something, listen to it. We don't have these stories being told. People telling stories for us, and that's why we got to write books. We got to write plays. We got to do filmmaking. We've got to change the culture. We've got to go back. We got to turn this ship back because we're headed for the iceberg, okay? And one of the things, the captain of that ship, the Titanic, he knew they were going to the iceberg, but the powers that be said, don't keep going because it's about money.
Right.
Well, but he should have said, I'm the captain of this ship, and I have the power to say so. And that's what those of us that are in leadership, we have the power to say so. And we have to stand up and, the way you combat those shows is you create different shows. And you create a different culture. What he's hitting the internet, he's hitting the airwaves. We gotta combat these things, and we gotta do something different and not highlight, being Mary Jane, being Candace on the Haves and Have Not. And Tyler Perry know better. He and Oprah, they know better. They know better. Okay, so good TV. That was the purpose of OWN. Good TV. You don't take a black woman. Use a white woman if you're gonna do that, but don't take us and highlight us as the harlot, because our girls are seeing that. Our women are seeing that, and studies are showing, stats are saying that there are not that many men, that black men, and da 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 da. Well, one thing I know about stats and studies, they're with groups of people. You don't have to individually take that for yourself and love yourself in that. So we have to find ways to have new ways of being, new ways of showing up in life, because we got to be careful. This culture is being slowly seeped and being created for us as African American women, and it's hard because I don't really know women like that in my everyday life.
That's right.
That's what they're creating for us.
Yeah. And we're believing the hype.
Believe
And
it or
we're
not.
mimicking that behavior. And as Angela said, it's not only our young girls, it's grown women too. We know better, but we choose not to do the right thing. And as Angela said, you said it made a good point that those of us in leadership positions, but you are the captain of your own life. You are the captain of your own heart. And you get to make the choice as to how you want to live your life or how you want to live it again. If a relationship has ended or something has happened or you've experienced a tragedy, that doesn't have to be the end of your life. That doesn't have to be the end of your positive thinking and your mental health. You can still live again and make a choice to live the best life you can live. We're going to get a final comment from each of our panelists and from filmmaker and screenwriter David Drew. And then if you all have any comments, we would love to hear from you too. Kapanda Narciso, again, she is a state mental health administrator and educator. What's your final comments?
I like to say I do understand that the roles are highlighted on TV. I'm not advocating cheating or running around with other people's husbands by any means, but it didn't just start now, it's just on TV now. It's been going on since slavery. They took the black woman with the white powerful man. It's always going on, it'll always go on. It's a personal choice, it's things you have to decide for yourself. What are you worth? What are you willing willing to accept and what are you willing to give? But I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that because of TV, this is going to run rampant. People need to make up their own rules, do their own things.
Yeah, but I think people aren't.
I feel really bad for somebody who looks at a TV show and says, this is who I want
But
to
so
be.
many people are.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it is, but again, I think that goes back to.
And studies show.
Yeah.
Be a leader.
Yeah, it shows where our minds are, and that's the reality. It does.
A child I can understand, but grown men,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, a grown woman, grown man, child, if you are not, if you don't feel good about yourself, if you're having those self-esteem issues, if you are grasping, if you don't know you're grasping for who you want to identify with. Author, educator, and screenwriter, Mr. Kevin Raspberry. His book, Evolution of the Good Man, What Men Have to Say, is a bestseller, and he's a great guy, Kevin. What's your point?
The manifestation of a person is based in how much they invest in themselves. You create a positive culture, negativity can't stay there. And you have to be rooted and grounded in your positivity to continue to have that in your life. That'll run people out of it. You can't relax your standards. And that's what happens, and that's how cheaters get in, is that people relax their standards. And people come in and pillage and rob from you, and you're a shell of a person that can't move forward, and you don't even really know you're broken. So I would say that continue to build your positive culture and only let those folks in that have earned their way.
Absolutely, that are worthy of you, worthy of your greatness. Ms. Barbara Johnson, life coach and etiquette coach. Your final comments, please.
There is a saying that realize, Angela has said about the have-nots and the monetary situations, shows and so forth. Your thinking is what we all need to work on. Your thinking will develop in one way, positive, or it will develop negative. It will bring in the type of people that you want to associate with, whether they're negative or positive. You want a better life, you've got to discover who you are, who you want to become, and live it so that you can be the best that you can be in life.
Thank you, Barbara. Attorney Kevin Kears has been a family law attorney for over 25 years. Coming out this summer, keep your eyes and ears open for his book, Living and Loving Wisely. Kevin?
I just want to say that I'm like a pond. I don't necessarily run a television show. I think that goes hand in hand. That it's kind of like a reflection of what's going on culturally with us, as much as it is the art driving the culture. And Ferrari is no good without brakes. And I say that even the most expensive car. This is a very simple. Your theme is not being Mary Jane. This is very simple. Just don't be Mary Jane. It's very simple. When you get approached by a husband, just don't get involved with the guy. A man who you know is seriously involved with a woman, just don't involve yourself with the guy. It is that simple. This is not rocket science. This is not something that you need to go to Dr. Phil about. This is something you can resolve yourself, and you have to be honest about who you are. A lot of people come in my office, we go in court, they're not honest about who they are. If you're not whole, be honest about it, because if you're not whole, and then be honest about the person you're with. If that person's not whole, your relationship is not going to be whole. It takes two whole people. You can't be strong for two people. He can't be strong for two people. You both have to be strong for each other. And you have to be honest. You have to find out what are your weaknesses are, and then work on those weaknesses. And then you team up with somebody else who's equally honest about themselves and trying to be strong and a whole person. And you're going to have a very whole relationship. Otherwise, you're going to be married, divorced. So I see it on Facebook all the time. You're gonna be single, then you're gonna be in a relationship, then you're gonna be
Right.
complicated, then
Status
you're gonna be engaged, then you're gonna be complicated, then you're gonna be married, and your status gonna say complicated, and then you're gonna be single again. That's a person who's not whole. And so we all need to have, and I wish we had more men in this room, because we need to have these conversations. Because I do agree with Angela, our culture is really spiraling to a point, and it ain't like we could afford it in the first place. We really just fresh out of slavery. And so it wasn't like we had a strong cultural base in the first place, and now that, you know, we already was something like the special ed kid, and now we going like down to being worse than being retarded culturally. You know, we need to stop this thing, because ain't nobody else gonna turn it around but us. Nobody. And I just want to say, like I said, I don't mind bringing your money. I'm happy to take it. I'll be glad to take your marriage apart and get you whatever you want. And if you think that little bit of child support, alimony in the house and the 401k gonna make you happy, come on, let's go. You don't have to pay me for it. But if you really want to solve your problems, I'm getting ready to cry. You really need to be honest about where you are as a person and where the person you're involved with is as a person, and then do something about it. You know, other than just think this divorce is going to cure your problem. All right? Because it's not.
Angela Carr-Patterson is the love lifestyle coach. She has several books out. She has a booth downstairs. Please check her out. She also does seminars, workshops, and esteem building sessions for women. Her specialty is fatherless daughters.
They taught you how to ride a bike. They taught you how to tie your shoe. They taught you how to drive a car. But who taught you how to love? You can't think of anybody that really sat you down and taught you how to love, because we learn love through what we see modeled in front of us. And for most of us, that was not very functional. So your relationships are a reflection of who you are. They mirror back to you no matter what. They aren't mirror up who you are. If you don't like what's going on in your relationship, stop twisting yourself and expressing for the sake of the relationship, and go dive deep and learn how to truly love yourself from an authentic, deeper place. Become more spirit identified instead of body identified, and begin to source your life from that place, because you are divine, you are made, you say you are radiant, and in the mind of God there's a perfect image of who you are, and you can get hold to that and grasp that, download it into your system, and begin to source your life from that. The love that you're seeking is already within, but it also will attract love externally that can love you on a level that you never imagined. And so don't settle for good enough, because what good enough gets you through hard times. What good enough gets you where you really want to be. Learn to love yourself, and that's easy said than done, because for me as a fatherless daughter, I didn't know what love looked like. So I learned step by step. Someone had to teach me. I know you're tired of people telling you to do and not telling you how. And so I think that's what our community has to begin to do. It's not just tell you what you need to do, but step by step teach you methodically how to do it. And so, but just remember, show up big in the world. It's your time to shine, because people who show up big in the world, they do big things. And people who do big things get changed.
David Drew, filmmaker, screenwriter.
I'm gonna make it real simple in the interest of time. Sitting back there thinking, my mom always said something. She said, find somebody as screwed up as you are and settle down. So I'm looking at that note.
I probably shouldn't have gone. Forget everything. It may be popular to be like these three characters that are on 3 of the top shows right now, but it's not glamorous. It's not beautiful. It's not luxurious. It's not like you see portrayed on television. And basically, it's not right. You're beautiful, you're strong, you're talented, and you're worthy of the love and life that you desire and deserve. And you can have it if you take the time to focus on your healing, your communication, your connecting. Use this time being single, not being angry or mad or bitter or listening to what people say. As Kevin says, don't RSVP to the pity party. Use this time building yourself up physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. God has given you this time so you can get yourself together, so you can be whole, so so that you can attract and recognize the right person for you. If you take that time doing that, you will be okay being single, and you will realize that it's okay. It's not okay to be Mary Jane. We thank you, ladies, so much for coming this afternoon. Please, as I said, stop by Angela's booth. Kevin has some of his books here. We have our booth downstairs, Relax, It's Okay to Be Single. Please sign up for our mailing list. Maxine will be there, and you'll get our emails and e-blasts about the different seminars, workshops, and social events that we have. And also we have some products for sale also. Maxine will give you an armband so that you can get into the expo. She's got some drawings for you, some relaxed merchandise, and also 2 VIP badges. She's going to tell you what to do. I work for Expo, so I've got to go back to work. But I thank you again so much on behalf of all of our panelists and on behalf of Relax, It's Okay to Be Single. Thank you.
If I can have that, and don't leave yet, don't leave yet, I'm going to do a drawing.